die, barbarian!
Conan the Barbarian will always have a special place in the hearts of the fans of sword and sorcery films. Based on Robert E. Howard's swashbuckling hero, Conan the Barbarian is a cult film responsible for putting Arnold Schwarzenegger in the Hollywood limelight. Riding on Conan's coattails, however, was Korgoth of Barbaria, a parody of the entire sword and sorcery subgenre. So whatever happened to this show? We're ready to tell you, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, make sure that you've subscribed to our channel and that bell icon is tapped, as we make amazing content and we'd hate for you to miss it. All done? Then let's get started.
Guess again!
At 12 o'clock noon on June 3, 2006, Adult Swim aired the first episode of Korgoth of Barbaria. Set in the distant future, Earth had witnessed the rise and fall of great cities and civilizations. The increasing wilderness was reclaimed by primordial beasts, while the small and dirty towns were overrun with thieves and savages. This was the time when a hero arose from the north, Korgoth of Barbaria, whose merciless savagery was the only key to surviving these difficult times. The pilot episode begins with a group of henchmen, all intimidating and menacing, trying to find Korgoth. They find him at a bar he frequents, a quaint place called the Swine-Faced Tavern. Korgoth looks like everything you'd expect a barbaric hero to look like: a man with flowing black hair, brawny hands, and beefy muscles. The minions' leader sends the most bullied of the henchmen, a short guy called Stink, to ask Korgoth to accompany them to meet their master. Korgoth doesn't pay much mind to the cowardly Stink, and the leader of the henchmen decides to approach Korgoth himself. Again, Korgoth ignores him, concentrating only on his beer. To get his attention, the hook-handed henchman dumps the beer out. Big mistake. Korgoth, like your typical savage hero, loves his ale. In his anger, he begins to brutally attack the thugs, peeling their skin and tearing away their limbs, but he eventually gives in and decides to accompany them to their leader's lair. That leader is none other than the Baron of Thieves, Gog Magog. Gog Magog welcomes him in with a feast and tells him about Specules, a wizard who has the Golden Goblin of the Fourth Age, a tiny statuette. Gog Magog believes that the wizard is dead, as he no longer comes out to his balcony to put his hand out for 40 minutes as he used to do. So he asks Korgoth to go steal the statuette from Specules. Korgoth says no, as he doesn't really like having anything to do with those who practice the dark arts. Gog Magog reveals that he has to run this deadly errand for him, as he had poisoned the food Korgoth ate, and the only way to cure himself was an elixir that he would give Korgoth after he received the goblin. Left with no other choice, Korgoth sets out on the adventure with Gog Magog's minions. On the way, they find a beautiful girl chained up to a monstrous tree. Korgoth kills the creature and rescues the damsel in distress, who joins their journey. They arrive at the floating castle of Specules and ride giant pigeons to gain access to the entrance. While the henchmen loot and plunder, Korgoth searches for the goblin. As luck would have it, Specules wasn't dead, but only out on vacation. When he returns, he uses his magic to hypnotize the henchmen into killing themselves. He then finds Korgoth with the goblin statue, and with the help of some magic chewing gum, begins battling him. Unfortunately for Specules, the ridiculous monsters he creates from his chewing gum are no match for the power of Korgoth, so he resorts to shooting rays of energy through his purple eyes. Just as Korgoth is nearly defeated, the girl he rescued trots in and bumps Specules, who turns his sight towards her and kills her. Full of rage and grief, Korgoth arms himself with a two-pronged candlestick and drives it through Specules' eyes. But the wizard still has a trick up his sleeve. He magically transfers his head onto the dead woman's body and flies out the window. With the remaining minions, Korgoth takes the Golden Goblin and returns to Gog Magog, who gives him the elixir of healing. When nothing happens, Gog Magog tells him that he needs to drink the elixir for many seasons for it to work, and gives him a cart piled high with elixir bottles. Korgoth of Barbaria had a lot of skilled hands behind it. It was created by Aaron Springer, who has worked on Samurai Jack, SpongeBob SquarePants, Dexter's Laboratory, and The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. The director of the pilot was Genndy Tartakovsky, whose creations include Samurai Jack and Dexter's Lab. The voice cast was also power-packed. Diedrich Bader, the actor who you might recognize from American Housewife, Veep, and Napoleon Dynamite, voiced the titular savage, while Corey Burton, the voice of Dale in Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Ansem the Wise in Kingdom Hearts, and Doc Hudson in Radiator Springs Racers, voiced Specules. Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob and the Ice King in Adventure Time, and John DiMaggio, the voice of Bender in Futurama and Aquaman in Batman the Brave and the Bold, also voiced many characters on this show. Lee Holdridge composed the thrash metal-styled theme song for Korgoth of Barbaria. The work of geniuses hardly fails, and that was the case with the pilot as well. It impressed viewers who considered it perfect. The gore and bloody violence of the show only increased the interest the audience had in it. Reviews ranged from pitch perfect to gruesomely awesome. The animation style and the gag humor of the show set it apart from other Adult Swim cartoons. As expected, within 2 months of the airing of the pilot, Korgoth of Barbaria was picked up by Cartoon Network. Fans were delighted to see bumpers on the channel announcing that the show was going to be a regular. Their hopes, however, were shattered when Adult Swim posted a 15-second video in November 2010 that stated that Korgoth of Barbaria was cancelled because it was too expensive. The video, which had a sax background, also stated that Duckworth of Ellington was meh, Neon Gnome was going to be remade for kids, Snake and Bacon was hated by everyone but them, and Cheyenne Cinnamon was going to be remade as a Katy Perry video. An obvious joke. Not much explanation was given either, but since Adult Swim was already handling expensive shows like Metalocalypse and the Venture Brothers, it's only logical to assume that they couldn't include Korgoth on the roster. Fans, however, didn't accept defeat so easily. An online petition was filed titled "Bring Back Korgoth of Barbaria" by people who loved the pilot. There's been 7,429 names signed on it, with people chanting Korgoth's name, singing his praises, and even offering to personally pay the Adult Swim network to bring it back. Unfortunately, this wasn't enough to move the Adult Swim executives. They changed the description of the show on the now defunct Adult Swim website to snarkily say, "You could handle only one." However, they did profit from the pilot's success as they aired it a bunch of times. Along with unaired pilots and rare shows like Boo Boo Runs Wild and Welcome to Eltingville, the show was aired on Halloween night, 2008, as part of Adult Swim's Halloween Stunt Night. It was also aired on the Toonami program that ran on November 3, 2013. The last time Adult Swim re-aired the pilot was January 19, 2019. Though there wasn't much development in regards to Korgoth of Barbaria, director Genndy Tartakovsky developed an adult animated anthology series called Primal: Tales of Savagery, which first aired on October 8, 2019. Set in a prehistoric time and full of anachronisms, the show focuses on Spear, a Neanderthal man whose family was wiped out by dinosaurs, and his friend Fang, a female Tyrannosaurus Rex whose family was also killed by the same pack of dinos that slaughtered Spear's family. Fans began to notice many similarities between the show's protagonist Spear and Korgoth of Barbaria, and Tartakovsky confirmed it as he said that this show, much like Korgoth of Barbaria, was inspired by Conan the Barbarian. So if you've got a Korgoth-shaped hole in your heart, you should check out Primal. It's not exactly the same, but we promise it'll help. Marvelous verdict! Korgoth of Barbaria, despite being supported by the strongest hands in the game and winning over the hearts of thousands, failed to gain a show. Would you bring back Korgoth on Adult Swim if you had the chance? Why or why not? Let us know in the comments down below, as we sure would love to hear from you. As always, if you like the content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Otherwise, we'll be back soon with more mind-blowing content, but until then, take care and stay marvelous. Goodbye!